Who would have thought that a concept like this would grow so big?
Somebody do a QC on them fries.
We need to evolve it a little bit, but then I want the brand story to come to life.
You in my house. You in the house that Reese built. I got BET in the house that Reese built. Come on now.
Black women have always been bosses. From shaping the next generation to creating the latest innovation, we constantly raise the bar. Black women are blazing trails in the field of entrepreneurship and making waves in almost every industry. And it's time to illuminate Black girl magic in this new docuseries about her business.
Black women will lose $840,000 over their working career, not because they're not working twice as hard, not because they're not twice as smart, not because they don't know how to make $1 out of 15 cents, but simply because they are Black and they are women. And so Black women today are pursuing entrepreneurship in larger numbers simply because they're trying to create economic opportunities for themselves. 80% of the women who enroll in Black Upstart are Black women. And one of the things that we like to teach before we even start teaching business concepts is all about the African American marketplace. Currently, Black folks spend $1.3 trillion worth of spending power. We don't want that $1.3 trillion to be a blank check for other communities to sign.
It is very important for viewers and people to see the images of Black women in leadership positions, able to see that a Black woman can create this, that we can create an atmosphere in which we are in power and that it's okay. If you want to be an entrepreneur, my advice to you is to start. I would have never dreamt in a million years after walking out the doors of Under Armour what was on the other side of the door. It's not about the praises, but it's about the fact that I thought I could and I did. My name is Kalila Wright and I am the owner of Masada Bottle. We put messages on t-shirts and they actually come packaged in a reusable bottle. In 2015, an African-American male by the name of Freddie Gray was killed while in police custody. At the time, I lived in Baltimore City, in that community, in the neighborhood, so I really felt the uproar from the city. And I decided to create Masada Bottle as a form of communication, as a way of people to stand in solidarity with each other, and for you to know that someone is really giving a voice to the voiceless. I was actually an architect for Under Armour. I just really felt like I had a bigger purpose. So I one day just said, you know, it's time. I left my six-figure job and I took the jump. There was an album called Surf. And at the time, I created messages, but I had no idea what the company was gonna be called, what the connection was. And when I saw that message in a bottle, it clicked. And I was like, I'm a mess. I'm a mess, the world's a mess right now. Everything around me is a mess. And that is how we came up with Masada Bottle. About a year and a half in, I decided to open our first Masada Bottle studio space. 2 young men came in and it was an armed robbery. I literally got away, ran out into the street, and the moment that happened, I said, I don't want this business anymore. That was it. Celebrities like Bazoma St. John, Lovey, Lena Waithe, they all posted, and they told me that I was not giving up. And that really changed the perspective of my business. The t-shirt that is probably the fan favorite as well as the first one that we concepted, it is entrepreneur. It says entrepreneur, a fancy word for a crazy person following their dream. And I just felt like I was that entrepreneur, and I was a crazy person. I would stay up at night, try to figure it out, and it really connected with other people who didn't know what they wanted to do with themselves. Masada Bottle has expanded from our initial products of just having t-shirts to now we have jackets, we have duffel bags, and we are looking to expand into beveraging. I would love to create Masada Bottle juices, and we have a Masada Bottle vending machine already. I'll tell you my favorite pastime. On Fridays when my staff isn't here, I sit with the lights out, computers down, and I reflect. And the reflection of being in a space and knowing that I created this and it's still going is very gratifying. I believe that you are in business when you make your first sale. A lot of people think that you need to go out and get incorporated immediately, but you can start a business as a sole proprietor and start doing business that way. And that again is another way to case study and test whether or not you have a profitable or monetizable business idea.
Coming up on About Her Business.
I couldn't do this without my staff. They go so hard for me. And this movement. And it's a great feeling to know that people believe in your vision and they want it to grow.
When we look at just 2018, it's been reported that there are 2.4 million African American owned businesses in this country. And it's a growth rate over 20% over the last 5 years or so. And so we steadily see them grow. And there are different types of businesses that exist. There are opportunity types of businesses, and those are very savvy and smart businesswomen who saw an opportunity and created a business around it. And oftentimes what we've also seen over the last few years are businesses started by African American females in non-traditional roles and non-traditional businesses. So that's been phenomenal as well.
This whole movement is so much bigger than food. This is a modern day revolution to be able to say that we're introducing people, especially Black people, to a better way of living. All of the things that happened up until this point, it was very big for me because I knew that if I'm going to do this again, I got to do it right. I missed all the hiccups. I missed all the perceived failures that I've experienced. I had a restaurant before in 2014 for 2 years. That restaurant was extremely successful, but one day I lost everything to a fire. Now that I look back, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because from that time until 2018, I was in preparation mode. My name is Pinky Co. I am the CEO and founder of Slutty Vegan ATL. We are located in Atlanta, Georgia, and we've been in business for over a year. I was living in Los Angeles, California as a casting director, and I got the opportunity to move to Atlanta, Georgia. So when I got to ATL, I was hungry. I wanted some vegan junk food. So I was sitting in my bedroom in Atlanta, and I came up with this crazy idea to start a concept that would sell comfort food for people who wanted something like that. And literally, just like a light bulb, Slutty Vegan was born. Slutty Vegan ATL is a 100% plant-based burger joint, but it's not just your ordinary burger joint. This is a phenomenon that has taken the world by storm. It's a place where you come to get the ultimate plant-based experience and get quote-unquote slutified. I found a company that was selling a food truck, took $10,000 that I had saved, and I put it down on this food truck, and literally business was booming.
Last 3 digits, 944.
Every single day we would have to cut the line and we would sell out because we would be serving hundreds of people from this food truck.
I think that just from looking at the line, this is probably gonna be the best burger I've ever tasted.
I got a message on DM from somebody who would patronize the business, and he told me that there was a location that was for rent and if I was interested to give him a call. January 13th, I opened the doors to my very first brick and mortar of Slutty Vegan, and that was in Atlanta, Georgia, in the heart of the West End. And there were over 1,300 people who stood outside for at least 8 hours to patronize my business. To see my mom watch me after coming to America as an immigrant to make a life for herself, and to see how proud she was to see so many people coming outside to support the business, to support me, and that is when things got full circle for me. Slutty Vegan is expanding in so many ways. We just announced a third location in Edgewood, which is the neighborhood that Martin Luther King grew up in, so it's very historic. And we're closing our first round of funding. So in 2021, Slutty Vegan will have a total of 13 stores around the country. I couldn't do this without my staff. They go so hard for me. And this movement. And it's a great feeling to know that people believe in your vision and they want it to grow. I literally have a group of people who love what they do, and they don't treat us like work. They treat this as an opportunity to change the world. And I made a promise to them, whether they heard it or not, that as long as I'm good, they're gonna forever be good. And it's a good feeling because the customer can feel that too. We love to show people a good time. We care about customer service. We care about what people think about how we treat them. And as long as we continue with that, we'll always win.
Up next on About Her Business.
Everyone deserves to be seen, and it shouldn't matter who you are, your size, your age, your gender, your ethnicity. You should be able to put on this piece of clothing and feel empowered.
When we think about it, I think we should always be preparing to lose our jobs. That's how I think we ought to be saving. That's how I think we ought to be living our lives at or below our financial means. I think when we put ourselves in positions where we just don't have financial savings, even while we have a job, we're doing a disservice to ourselves because nothing is secure. There's no safety net for anything, and you never know what tomorrow may bring. So I would say, even before that step, the precursor to that, to me, still is be sound with your finances. You don't always need the new bag. You don't always need those new shoes. And that's really important in this day and age where we're constantly seeing what it means for us to look successful without necessarily being financially sound. And that's very important.
The biggest compliment I've ever received is thank you for making me smile. I got my piece. I feel beautiful. Thank you. I am Junny Hibbert. I am the founder and head designer of my namesake brand, Junny. What is Junny? It's a clothing brand, but it's more than a clothing brand. It's about who I became when I was downsized 4 years ago and needing to find myself. I was at ESPN for a decade, and I was a sales director, and they needed to eliminate my position. I was confident, so I figured, oh, I'm gonna bounce back from this easily. 2 years in, I was still struggling. I was still trying to find myself. The confidence left me, the friends left me. Everything that I thought I wasn't anymore. I realized that I couldn't continue that way. Something had to change. There used to be a market called Sugar Hill Market, and I made friends with a Brazilian woman who lived in Harlem, Caramba Deodato. So one of the things that she did is she made headbands, and the headbands were actually carried in Whole Food. And I said to Caramba, hey, I have this idea. You know, I'm not a trained designer, so I'd like you to partner with me. So she partnered with me, and the first piece that I did was Junny X Caramba Deodato. So I literally took the piece to 160 to the African market, and I'd already drawn on a piece of paper what I wanted. So Dembo is a tailor in the market. And I talked to Dembo about the piece. And I was like, don't you need a pattern? He's like, no, I got this. After he made the piece, I told Caramba, we need to shoot this. So I styled myself, we filmed it. I put it on my Instagram, and my Instagram blows up. And I'm like, somebody's actually buying something for me, right? Because remember, I go from being, you couldn't tell me anything, I'm confident, to being this person that's afraid of my own shadow. So when it came time to launch the brand, the first thing I needed was a name. I decided that the name was going to be Junny because it represented who I was, the city that I love. My piece is a work of art. What makes my clothing line special is a customization. It's not mass-produced. So I work with my local artists. I put their work on my clothing. I use their jewelry. I incorporate every aspect of my neighborhood into my pieces. I want a consumer to walk away with the feeling that everyone deserves to be seen. And it shouldn't matter who you are, your size, your age, your gender, your ethnicity. You should be able to put on this piece of clothing and feel empowered. I get to smile every day when I get up. I get to create. I get to be me. Just having the opportunity to fall down and thinking you lost everything, you lost who you were, you lost your whole identity, and to actually begin again and to be proud of who I am and what I've done and where I'm going. I get to be Junny.
On the way, on About Her Business.
Black Friday 2018 was the year that I made $1 million in 90 minutes. It was crazy. Like, I never made that much money that fast in my life. Black Friday 2018 was the year that I made $1 million in 90 minutes. I cried because it was crazy. Like, I never made that much money that fast in my life. And it wasn't just because of me. It was because of the whole community, you know, and it was because of my people, everybody else. It was just amazing for me.
How are you?
My name is Vernell Stewart, AKA Wazam Super, and I'm the CEO of Crayon Case Cosmetics in New Orleans, Louisiana. The Crayon Case is a cosmetic line dedicated to amateur makeup users. My typical consumers are people that never ever bought makeup before and professional in many ways. People started to take notice of me in 2013 on social media because I started Storytime. And I started Storytime because I had an ex-friend who was telling my business.
And I was like, yes!
So my Storytime was basically telling my side of the story. So I would just say things about my life that people went through themselves. So I started to be comfortable about me. When Instagram started doing videos, I started doing videos of myself. I was making it real known that whoever said anything negative to me, I was blocking them. It was like a little method, like saying I block hoes. Everybody kept saying, I need a shirt. They said it because I block people too. So I said, okay, so I'm gonna start getting some shirts made. I didn't think that many people was gonna buy it because it had a curse word on it. But it sold so great, so I came out all type of stuff. T-shirts, I had fanny packs, headphones, chargers, anything that can keep my lights on. I was only making $14,000 a year. And I was a housekeeper. I used to be on buying at work while I was cleaning beds and cleaning rooms. And then with the shirts, I was making maybe $100-something a year. So I was popular because the videos came out. And then me wearing shirts all the time. And then I started getting booked from it. And then by me going out of town a lot, I could never find anyone to do my makeup. And I'm like, well, look, I'm just gonna learn how to do my own face. And I was on live doing my makeup and I was tearing my face up. And everybody thought it was funny. I was learning. And then after that, people just kept asking me like what I'm using. I'm like, if you keep asking, I'm gonna start selling something. Because I felt if I could sell all them curse word shirts, I know I could sell some makeup. So then I just kept thinking about it, brainstorming. Even with the name, I wanted the brand to stand out. And it was like being in school, learning makeup. So that's how I came up with the school theme. I knew I was gonna have two customers. Professional makeup artists and people that have nothing to do with makeup. They just wanted it just because it was cute. I found the Crayon Case in 2017. So initial reaction was great. I initially launched with 6 products. And when I came out the box of crayons palette, that what got me to the top. It's a big old palette. It looked like literally a box of crayons. After the box of crayons came out, I had to make sure that everything was school related. I had the little pencil bag. I had the book bags. I had all type of stuff. Like anything that I had in school, I made it into a cosmetic product. I reached out to all the underdogs, and that's how the brand flew. I gave all them free products, and all of them talked about it all day. What I like most about being a successful entrepreneur is I know how to treat the people that work for me. We were helping each other. We both grew together. And now I'm getting booked to talk about how I became popular, how I became successful. And for me to be here, I must be somebody. In 2018, I became pregnant by my fiance. And then I realized I started blacking out while I was pregnant. It was happening so much. When I finally went to the hospital, they said, you have epilepsy. One of the things that affected me with epilepsy is the memory loss. I didn't remember nothing about the company. I didn't remember I had a baby. I didn't remember I was engaged. Even now, I have short-term memory loss. The company is moving forward now because I actually turned over everything, which was probably just something that they needed to happen. But I'm just happy now because I don't have so much weight on my shoulders. I can actually relax and I can know that things are getting done properly. My plan to expand the Crayon Case, I want to collaborate with certain people that have a different demographic than me. So I could benefit from them and they could benefit from me. A typical day for me at the warehouse is me at home. I have managers. Everybody that's management is family. I trust them.
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready. Let's go, thank you.
I've been about my business all my life. I've been working since I was 15. So I made sure I've always been about work. I've always been about taking care of my household. I've always been about my business, even before I had a business. I made sure everything runs smoothly, the bills get paid. I did my job, I'm at home sleeping. The Crayon Case helped so many people, not just me.